Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And today, Dave and I are excited to do our ranking episode of our 10x10. So our 10x10 started with the Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, right?
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
I know, it feels like so long ago. And then it ended with Viticulture, which doesn't feel as long ago because we just most recently played that. So.
Just finished it.
Yeah, so that wasn't too long. But, of course, there were other games in between, too, that we'll dive into when we discuss our list. So what we do is we do a 10x10 challenge, and for season 1, it really did feel like introductory games. And then for season 2, they were more like mid-level to heavier games, which I personally found out that I really love.
And are really good at, too.
Really good.
As it turns out.
Which is interesting because...
Didn't surprise me, though.
Well, thank you. But it's interesting because when I first started playing board games, I was really intimidated, you know? Because you kind of get the people that, I don't know, I would say like are gatekeepers. And maybe they don't include you in games, you know? So I was always just intimidated by it. Well, you came along and you were like, no, we could play cute games, we could play fun games, we could play games that don't really have points, even though they all kind of have points. I don't know why I say don't really have points, but yeah. And I'm like, oh, I love it. And then you're like, oh, you like it? Well, buckle up, because the next 10x10 is going to be really heavy.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Not quite extreme, but how would you say that your perspective has changed from the beginning of season 1 until the end of season 2? How do you describe your preferences, if you could?
My preferences have changed dramatically. I always picked the cutesy games because I'm like, oh, so cute. Like, it's so cute. Like, I remember, like, season 1, our first 10x10, I remember always being like, the art's cute. And now I'm like, oh, yes, the strategy of this game.
Or you're like, the art is boring. This one's going to be good.
I'm like, the distraction of art is not there. But, no, I think when we first came in, I already was kind of wanting more. So we started with Azul, and Azul was kind of laid back, but then I realized you could go more head to head because I could intentionally grab tiles that I knew you couldn't put onto your board and would fall to your floor, just so you could get negative points. Even maybe I didn't need those tiles or that's not what I was going for, but I would do it for a good giggle. So I found out that I liked those aspects of the game. So then in games that I couldn't do that to, so when we played Sagrada or Targi, it was more difficult to interact with your side of the game, so that I enjoyed those a little less, you know? And then coming into this season, the games were more interactive, so I really enjoyed those. But then we got to Viticulture and Wingspan, and they were a lot less interactive. For Wingspan, there was interaction when it came to, oh, if this person uses this type of action or type of bonus, that you get to roll the dice or you get to gain some type of food or what have you. But it didn't really affect your opponent negatively. And I think I like having the aspect of games where it feels like you can control the whole game by challenging your opponent directly.
Like change the whole play style of the game that we're playing?
Yeah.
And change it up from game to game?
Yeah.
I've noticed that you do that. You radically change your strategy. So once I catch on to you, you change it up. And then that really keeps me on my toes.
It's because I noticed that when you think I'm doing something, you come up with this plan on how you're going to get around that. And I'm like, oh, good luck.
Good luck.
Because I've mixed it up.
That's funny. Do you think that you've gotten to a point where I could teach you a game and you learn it really quick? Or do you think that it still takes you quite a while to catch on to a game and learn the rules and stuff? Like, what does that look like for you now?
Okay, honestly, what's really dumbfounding to me is that I catch on really quick. So I don't know if it's
really quick. It's like I put the game on the table and you're like, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Just download the information for the rule book like a robot.
Like a robot? You're like, are you sure you're not AI? I'm like, honestly, I could be. Like, nobody knows. You could be talking to, like, some chat bot or whatever.
This is all a simulation.
Yeah. But no, I think that a lot of games, especially in this season, this second 10x10 that we've done, they have a lot of similar patterns, which makes it easier to learn. I also do believe that you two in general have learned how to teach me games, because prior to me figuring out what's quickest for me to learn, you taught me the way that you used to teach everybody and the way that you're used to learning things. And I'm like, no. Skip all of that. Just tell me the basics. Tell me how this moves and let's move on. You're like, don't you want to know how you win? And I'm like, no, I'll figure it out.
I'll still win without knowing how to win.
Because there was Wingspan where I was literally doing something completely different and you were talking and explaining the rules. And you were like, if anybody ignored me the way you did, I would have just stopped talking.
That is my biggest pet peeve. If I'm trying to teach a game and somebody's looking at their phone or doing something else, and then I say, okay, we're ready to go. I've taught the rules. And they say, don't worry, I'll catch on as we go. And then they have 1,000 questions of things I literally just explained. And I'm like, if you just were paying attention. So sometimes when I teach a game, I play the teacher and wait till I have full attention to the room before I proceed. But you are bizarre in the sense that you can be doing 1,000 things and still retain, let's say I'm talking to you, teaching you rules, you're listening to a podcast over here, you're doing other things. You can retain it all, which is incredible. Superhuman.
Just a robot.
Yeah.
But no, so I think there is things that I figured out through playing these games and challenges that kind of go into the next game. So there's patterns, and I've found out that I'm just really good with patterns.
I can see that.
I used to play like Sudoku. Is that how you pronounce it? Or Sudoku?
Sudoku, yeah.
Yeah. I used to play that a lot, and that's a lot of patterns because it's 1 through 9, and each box can only have 1 through 9 once. So that's a pattern. Chess is a pattern. Cards, for the most part, are patterns because you know how many are in the deck. Like, the suits and everything. The
only pattern I noticed in this 10x10 was my losing streak. That's about it.
Well, no, I mean, so like worker placement. Like there was a lot of worker placement. And then there was a lot of cards, so a lot of stacking and having to use ability on cards. The only one that had something different was the Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, because it had the track where you were chasing the hobbits.
That's true. A lot of the games on this list shared a lot in common, and I think I tried to do that on purpose. As I was planning this one, I didn't really connect anything in terms of theme. I just found groups that were similar, but overall tried to put games together that made sense. Like, if you like this game, you'll probably like this game, and made them all work together in that way.
And like Orléans, that game, I remember playing the first round and coming out of it just like, what did I play? Like, I didn't understand it or anything. Yeah. But you had told me that it's very similar to Quacks of Quedlinburg. And once I noticed that pattern, and then I noticed that there was an additional pattern of how the places are, they were like Bruges in a way to me, like in my mind. And I connected those, and then from there, I just took off. Like, I was like, you're not winning.
You did. Big time. You know what's funny? Can I tell you something?
Yeah,
so,
tell me something.
When I was first, you moved here and stuff, and I was moving my games out of storage, and I realized, I have a lot of games, but I'm going to pick 4. This is before I even introduced you to games at all, but I had a feeling you'd be into it because of playing chess and other things. And you just have that intellectual mindset. So I knew that you would be into games. And I picked 4 to bring with me to eventually introduce you to that I suspected you would love. And I've been spot on with all 4 of those so far. So the first 3.
Yes, tell me.
Quacks of Quedlinburg was one of those.
Cute.
Agricola and 5 Tribes.
Okay. Because Mancala.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was really good at Mancala, and then I played this one person, and they beat me every single time. I was just like, what?
I'm surprised you didn't stay up till 2 a.m. trying to beat them.
Oh, I did. Well, not till 2 a.m., but we did play at least, 30 rounds of Mancala.
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny, the 4th game is one that we haven't played yet, and it's called The Great Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. And that may be one that I'll try to put on a 10x10 challenge coming up. But it's funny because we haven't played it, but everything about the game, I was spot on that you would like those things. And other games that we've played, it's heavy strategy, but it's highly interactive in the sense that you put things on the board and those affect every other player, and you have to work within that. And there's a lot of different play styles that you can do, and it's all based on the interactive nature of how you play the game. That dictates how you do. So and it's an economic game.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's economics.
Very curious to see if I'm right with all 4 of those. That'd be pretty incredible.
I think when it comes to those games, I've always wanted to be a spy growing up. So I always did little puzzles and stuff, and that is why I like strategy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
You're like,
I've learned a lot about you in this 10 by 10 challenge, from the birds to learning about your Mancala past and everything. So.
Well, let's get into it. So let's start with our 10th game and then work our way up to the celebration of number 1, which, you know, when we did season 1's ranking, I went into it understanding that we would be pretty paired up in it just based off of how we interacted while playing and just how we discussed the games. But this season, I feel like we're going to be all over the place. I really
think
do.
So. I could see that.
Yeah, so you can start. What is your 10th? What is the game that was number 10? So last favorable on this season's 10 by 10.
If you could guess what my number 10 is, what would you guess?
What would I guess? I am going to guess that it was either... Wait, do I get 2? Like, can I say...
Just 1. And then I'll guess yours.
Okay, fine. I'm going to guess it was Notre Dame.
No, it was actually Wingspan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because every game on this list, okay, even if you know, Notre Dame isn't number 1, it doesn't mean that I don't like it. This list is full of really, really good games. But Wingspan, it was a little bit too simple for my taste, and I just didn't have a ton of fun playing it. So when I was looking at the list and ranking everything, it puts 2 games together, and you have to decide which game you would play, this or that. And it just so happened that this was the game that I wanted to play the least out of every game I was presented to. And it's not to say that I strongly dislike Wingspan. It's just not as fun as the other 9 games on this list.
Okay. Do you want to guess mine then?
Viticulture.
It is Viticulture. Yes, it is.
You actively dislike this game.
All
the other games on the list, you
dislike this game.
There were a couple that you were lukewarm on, but none that you just couldn't wait to finish the 10 game, the 10 plays. This one we really had to push ourselves to finish. Yeah,
Viticulture was the first game you had showed me where I was like, I want to quit. And I don't think I've ever wanted to quit any of the other ones, but this one...
We came close, too.
Yeah, we came really close. Like, we talked about it for a while.
Talked about replacing it with another game, or how can we do something that we...
can't replace it. We already stated we'd play it.
Yeah.
It's set in stone.
The reason why it was not my number 10, and it's actually, that segues into the next, is because it's my number 9. And when I think it ranked Viticulture versus Wingspan, and I picked Viticulture only because there was 1 or 2 rounds of that game that were actually pretty engaging and nail-biting till the very end. Wingspan was just pretty lackluster from start to finish for all 10 rounds. So that's why Viticulture was just 1 above Wingspan. That was the biggest change for me in terms of how much I loved the game when we started the 10 by 10 to how much my opinion changed over time. And this one was one where it just, because I've played so many other games by this point in depth, and it's been so long since I played Viticulture, the issues with the game were more glaringly obvious to me playing it this time around.
Well, the reason I guessed number 10 for you to be Notre Dame is because it's my number 9. So, which I thought was interesting because I thought it'd be Wingspan, and honestly, I accidentally clicked the wrong one. So I think it's flipped, to be completely fair.
So you think Wingspan is number 9?
Yeah, because when I was clicking through it, it was between those 2, and my mind forgot how it worked for a second, so I clicked the wrong one.
Because I would guess that you would like Notre Dame more than Wingspan.
You do like Notre Dame more than Wingspan. I don't like Wingspan.
So ours are flipped, then probably like your number 9 Wingspan, my number 9 Viticulture.
Yeah. No, I don't like Wingspan. I don't like birds. But
so many bird facts that I learned about you. You started saying that you didn't like birds, and then you had so many specific stories about different species of birds, but then also several bird species that you did like, more than I could even name. So it was odd to have such a distaste for birds, but also have so many species that you really do like.
Yeah.
Like the blue...
Oh, the hornbill?
The hornbill.
Or are you talking about the shoebill pelican?
The shoebill pelican.
Sorry, the shoebill stork.
The shoebill stork.
You're like, see, you just named 3 birds right there.
That was the one that really, really freaked me out.
Dude, that one's so cool. Like, I want that one as a second pet. Like, I'll have the shoebill stork, and then I'll have lupin, and then I'll have, other pets. I'll be like a version of Snow White.
I don't know why I imagined that bird to be like, hey, kid.
I feel like it would be as tall as me.
Yeah.
Honestly. Maybe I could train it. Maybe it could be... It definitely can't be a shoulder bird. It's too big. But anyways, so when I was talking about Wingspan with people, they said, oh, well, maybe you like Wormspan because it's dragons, which is very valid. I do really like dragons. But my issue goes deeper, I think.
I think so, too.
I think so, yeah. Because, again, I like that head-to-head. I like the being able to affect your side, and I like the intenseness of it. While for this game, unless you're counting that person's cards every time they tuck or every time they lay something down, you really don't have that tension there that I crave.
Yeah, there's no action that I can take that denies you one thing that you really wanted to do on this turn, or something I can take from the board that you really needed, unless you're taking a card that you know the other person needs. But that stack of cards is so big, too.
It's so big. So yeah, that's how I feel. But I guess I'll go into 8 then, since it would technically be Notre Dame.
It's the same for me, too.
Oh, wow. I guess we are going to be the same all the way through.
Probably.
But, it's okay. It's okay.
Right. Out of the 3 Stefan Feld games, Notre Dame, Bruges, and Castles of Burgundy, this one is the clear least favorite of mine. And it's not bad.
Yeah.
I enjoy it when we play it. It's just not an incredible experience.
I like the rats.
The rats are cool.
Because now it's like a joke.
I do like the sense of progression, too, where you can put a cube on the board and the action is small. But then you got a second one, it's a little bit better, so you can kind of specialize. And there is a little bit of the card drafting where I have a hand of cards, and I really don't want to pass you this one that I know that you need. So I keep it, but I don't really need it myself, and I hope that you pass me cool cards. And then, okay, now I have 3 cards, but I can only do 2 actions. So which 2 am I going to do? So it's just thinking enough.
Yeah, and again, like I like the rats because now in every game we're like, oh, it's your rats.
Yeah, that's where we coined the
term.
So
distracting.
It's a distraction, I think, intentionally put into the game that you don't even really have to worry about if you find other ways to work around it.
I love that because that's going to carry over like for every game now. It's going to be like, oh, what's your rats? Is that your rats?
Your rats?
It's my rats. So
That's fun that was the same for both of us.
So let me guess your 7 then,
okay.
Since we have the same. Was it Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle Earth?
It was. Is it the same for you?
Too.
How are we so similar?
Okay, so it started off pretty good.
Yeah.
But then when we played it 10 times, I realized that the replayability of it was lacking for me.
I think so too. I like the idea of this game and especially the theme. I've played the normal version, 7 Wonders Duel, and I like this one more just because there's a few aspects that are more streamlined, but the theme, I love the artwork and everything. I think that this game is a good game by itself, but I could see it being a lot better if you get some expansion material that changes the game up somehow.
Yeah, and I think if you don't play this game 10 times in a row and just kind of come back to it periodically, it's going to feel a lot better.
I could see us enjoying it from time to time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to play it anytime soon because I still need to get it out of my system,
Yeah.
Because if we play it now, I'll still be like, oh, yeah.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, I need a palate cleanser. We need another 10 by 10.
No, I enjoyed it, though. I was surprised when I was looking at my list and saw it so low. I was like, I like this game. But then I remembered, wow, like most games on this list, minus 2, I thought are really good games.
Yeah.
So let me guess your number 6.
Guess away, Dave.
Is it 5 Tribes?
It is 5 Tribes.
It's mine, too.
Really?
How are we so
twins?
Yeah.
So
twins.
It's 5 Tribes because I do really like it, and there is aspects of it that varies from game to game because you don't know how the person's going to move the meeples that are on the board and any of that. But the reason that it's number 6 to me is because, and I'm so sorry, Dave, like this is nothing against you, but it became a little stale winning so much.
Oh my
Because I figured out how to win, and then I realized that you were like trying to block me from it whatsoever. So I just continuously did the same strategy for that game.
This hurts so bad.
All the time. And so I had lots of fun moving the meeple around. But at the same time, I feel like we could have just played 10 rounds of Mancala.
Would you want to play this game again?
I would.
Do you need a palate cleanser?
Yeah, this would be a palate cleanser, or maybe playing with somebody different.
Oh wow, that's so depressing.
I'm just kidding. You're my player 2 forever.
Well, I think a couple things that kept it lower on the list, from my perspective, were the turn structure itself. I think kind of slows down the game because you do your actions, because in a 2-player game, each player gets 2 actions. But then at the end of those 4 actions total, you then have to stop and do this auction for turnover or anything. We forgot to do that a few times.
Yeah, that's
so I think
true.
it really slows the game down, like the pace. It could just be a quick back and forth kind of game.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that we played it basically 10 times in one day.
We did, yeah.
It got me thinking, like, I don't know that I super enjoy doing that. As much as we just wanted to get into the groove and keep playing, it is a better experience, I think, when we play it maybe a couple times a day and then you have a day to kind of rest. And then you come back to it fresh-minded. When it was 1 a.m. and I was sitting there, like, I woke up in the morning in a haze. It was like what happened last night?
Yeah.
I still like the game and want to play it again someday soon and see if I can win.
Yeah, of course. I think this is where we're going to start changing our 5.
A little bit.
Like our 1 through 5. I think it's going to be completely different.
Okay.
So give me your 5.
Orléans.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why I said really. That makes sense, I guess, for you. Yeah.
Why? Because I lost?
You lost most of these.
Yeah, I did.
No, I guess that because the 5 that are left is like Castles of Burgundy, Bruges, Le Havre, Agricola.
Yeah.
So I figured that would be your 5th one because it is more like Quacks of Kuddenlenburg and you really don't get to mess with each other. You just get to something before the other person.
True.
So that's why I guess that was your 5th one.
Yeah, no, it is a very enjoyable game, and I'm really excited to try. We have the Plague expansion.
I know.
And I'm super excited to try that. And I think the aspect about this game that maybe gets a little stale is it doesn't feel like there are that many paths to victory. Like, you have to move up that reputation track pretty much all the way and then collect some things in order to score points. I wish that there were more opportunities to score points, I guess, throughout the game or different things that you could do, because I tried to get tiles that gave you extra points for cheese and things, and I collect those. And the points were nominal compared to what the other person would get if they moved all the way up the track.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And in general, the game just takes a while to set up.
It does.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
But it is a relatively short game with 2 players. We could play a couple games back to back once it's set up, and it's not so bad.
Yeah, are you going to guess mine?
Is it Bruges?
No.
Is it Agricola?
No, why would it be Agricola?
Is it Castles of Burgundy?
It is Castles of Burgundy.
What, really?
Whoa. It became
Whoa.
stale because I won too many times.
No, stop.
No, so the reason
Wow.
Castles of Burgundy is 5th is because I do like it. And I really enjoyed the chaining aspects. Like, if you put the castle down, you could have another move, and just having the different buildings do different effects that you could take. So you could have more than one turn within a turn if you knew how to use the tiles appropriately. And so I did really enjoy that, and the setup was a lot quicker than Orléans. But the reason that it's number 5 is because, again, I really enjoy the head-on-head aspect.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was kind of tough. I think Castles of Burgundy is a really good game. I just want to feel more tension.
Yeah, I mean, there was some tension with grabbing the tile that your opponent needed.
Yeah, but I always ended up going first. Because I would move my boat.
You would move your boat.
Yeah, so I mitigated the tension. I mitigated you taking what I wanted.
True.
Yeah. But since you're speaking about Orléans, that's my number 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's my number 4. The setup takes a long time for me, but I picked it as number 4 because we were laughing the whole time because you just were really about your cheese.
Yeah.
And so,
You really did like this game a lot.
Yeah, and I liked how it mixed like Quacks of Kuddenlenburg, and I liked the tension of trying to beat you up certain tracks, or when you were just like, when did you get that many scholars?
Yeah.
I'm just all like, why aren't you watching? So I just have lots of memories from playing that I enjoyed.
I love that. That is the whole point of playing games, is to make good memories, and
Yes.
we have some pretty funny stories so far. So do you want to guess mine?
No, because I just gave mine willingly. You can give yours willingly.
It's Bruges is my number 4.
It's Bruges?
Yeah.
Is it because you lost?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
it's
just
not because
kidding.
I lost.
But-
It's why is it so low? Like, this
Yeah.
is pretty high on this list.
Yeah, I know.
I love Bruges a lot, and I would gladly play it any day of the week or any time that you wanted to bust it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a couple of aspects about the game, and I know you would say, oh, you based your strategy on luck, but sometimes I could find myself in a situation where I'm trying to complete a canal,
Yeah.
and I need a very specific color in order to do that, and that color just doesn't come up.
Yeah.
But I could have planned better from the beginning of the game. I took that risk setting out knowing I just really want to complete this canal. But then some of the abilities too seemed like a little bit more work than what they were worth. Like you needed to collect a worker of this color in order to be able to use it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could find yourself in a situation where you couldn't even use those abilities very much, which is like any card game. Mm-hmm. And then there were some that would give you bonuses for having other cards of certain types with the icons.
Yeah.
And I just felt like there are a little bit too many of those in the game to be able to hone a good strategy, because the game is a little bit too quick to be able to build something that robust in terms of an engine. So I do love it a lot. Those few aspects are the only thing that kept it a little bit lower on this list.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit higher on mine.
Yeah.
So I'll just wait to give my 2 cents on it when we get there.
Oh.
Or like when we get there.
When we get there.
We're already at 4, so where is it? Well,
number 3.
Let me take you on a little boat ride.
Oh.
For my number 3. It's Le Havre.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was curious which of these two would be higher.
So I really like Le Havre. Like, I love how it's restrictive. Is it engine building if you get more things as you go?
For sure.
Yeah, so I love the engine building aspect. I love the placement. So the turn order, how you guys just take turns with it when you're going up the... Is it a canal? Le Havre? The harbor?
River?
Yeah, the river.
The port side.
Oh, yeah, the port side. There you go. And I love the resources. I think I'm just a big resource person.
The upgrading. You do love resource management.
Yes. I think it's because I'm just really good at managing my resources.
Oh.
No.
I think you're good about just about everything when it comes to games at this point, honestly.
No. So yeah, I like all those things. And you can feel the tension too, because you can stare at the other person's side and see how many like ships they have, or how many times that they've sold items, and you can see their coins to see how many additional points they have. So I like it, especially if I see you having like a pile of treasure over there. I'm like, oh, I need to work harder.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, it's such a good game. It's a little bit higher on mine, but number 3 is Agricola.
Okay, why is that your number 3?
Well, it's my number 3 because it's amazing. It's really high on my list. And this game has the highest of highs and lowest of lows I've ever experienced in my life. Because it is restrictive, which is a fun mental challenge. This isn't a game that I really feel like playing back to back a lot of times. The rules are easy enough to remember that this is a game I want to keep forever, and we can just bring it out whenever we want to, throw it down. We don't need a rules refresh or anything. We got a couple of those expansion decks that we can mix and match and throw in, and I do really like getting the cards in the beginning of the game and planning your strategy around how to maximize those special abilities and so forth. The aspect that just is a little bit challenging, I think, is how to use those cards to the best of my ability. That is a big challenge. This is a tough game because I love games where you can pick one thing and focus intently on that and do really good. And this is a game that you kind of need to do a little bit of a lot. And there just aren't enough turns in the game to be able to accomplish every single thing that you want to do, which is cool. I mean, that is a definite positive for a lot of people. And I could go either way. And just depending on my mood, maybe, I would be really feeling like playing Agricola. But if I wanted something a little bit more open, that lets me be a little more nimble and flexible in terms of what strategy I want to pursue, I'd probably gravitate toward another game that's a little bit higher on this list.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's higher on my list.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you love Agricola. Number 2, what do you think my number 2 is?
Le Havre. No, Castles of Burgundy.
No, it's Le Havre.
It is Le Havre.
It is Le Havre.
Yeah, because I remember you were saying that you liked Le Havre.
No, it's a perfect segue from Agricola into this one because it's just so clean in terms of the design, and the rules are so simple because all you do on your turn is move your boat up the port, put out some resources, and then you take a pile of resources or do an action.
Yeah.
Move your disc to another building. Yeah.
Your boat.
But then within that, there's so much planning that you have to do in terms of which resources you want to collect, which building you need, how to convert those, and then get a ship and be able to use that ship to sell those goods for money. And I love the special buildings in this game that come out that mix the game up a little bit every time. This game is a delight to play. I love it. I love Le Havre.
Oh, that's good. I love that Lupin wanted to come up here. Number 2 is Bruges for me.
Whoa,
yeah, so
that is so high.
Loved Bruges. I loved the art in Bruges. I loved that there was a jester card in Bruges, the Renaissance theme. I loved the picking of cards. I know that there's a way to have it so that you could end up with your colors of choice if you separate the cards and whatnot, like a house rule or something, or they did that for an expansion.
Oh, for the re-implementation of the game with Hamburg is like that.
Yeah, but I like not being able to pick which ones you need because it adds to the tension and difficulty of the game. And it makes a little luck factor that isn't necessary, but it's just enough to make it really tense. And then I like the dice, especially because they're like wooden dice, and how they match the colors on the board. I think it's just so smooth.
It
and
is.
I love that you can use cards as resources. Like, I love that you can use multiple resources. I think that's another thing that I like. If you can use money as a resource, or if you can use meeples for their action. So you know how in the Havre you can use food and coins to pay for food at the end of the rounds, which I really enjoy because it makes you think, do I take the negatives and keep the cash, or do I give the cash and not get a negative? But then you're giving away points.
So you like games with multi-use cards?
I do. Because then I can build a strategy in my head.
Yeah.
But
we have a game coming up we're going to play with multi-use cards.
So get excited? Is that what you're saying?
Get excited, yeah.
Well, there's my segue into my number 1 game, which is Agricola. I love how restrictive it is. I love that at the end of the...
You're like dancing right now.
I'm dancing. Probably hear my voice swaying closer and further from the mic. I love that at the end of the game, you feel like you could just use one more move every time. And I love that I joke with you when you're like, oh, I'm going to add another person. I'm like, you can't feed that other person.
You got to feed that family?
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, look, my family's having steak and lobster. Well, your family's having wheat.
My fields are barren. My situation is dire. And you're over there with a thriving farm. I just know that I have no chance of winning.
I have big farm, lots of animals. My house is, what is it?
You have the stone house.
Yeah, the stone, that's what it is. I'm just living luxury.
You got the cooking hearth.
Yeah, the cooking And you're like, oh, that's cool that you know how to use the cards. I was like, yeah, I learned. And I'm like, oh, that's cool that your fields look barren, but at least your family's fed.
Yeah.
It's neat.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I love Agricola, and I'm looking forward to playing it some more. Honestly, we've played it a bunch by this point, but there's still more strategies and with those cards and everything. So I'm gonna beat you some more.
Okay. I mean, you can try, but you cannot do. I'm farmer real life and farmer in game. So
I'm a farmer in no context of the word. So.
I know, it reminds me of when I talked about a cow with you, and I was like, oh, this is how you milk a cow. And you're like, I wouldn't know that. And I'm like, it's okay. So your number 1's Castles of Burgundy?
It is.
Really?
I do love this game, because when I'm looking at my list, and I'm thinking, like, what game would I just always love to play, no matter what mood I'm in? You know, Agricola, as much as I love it, I don't know that I want to play it in every single mood that I'm in.
Yes,
but Castles of Burgundy, no matter what, I would want to play a round of it. And it's rewarding, it's fun. I love when you roll the dice and you try to use them in the right way, and you get these really exciting turns where you put a tile down, you complete a region, you get all these points, and then that triggers a bonus, and you get a tile, move it to your board. And I'm just a sucker when it comes to chaining things together. Mm-hmm. It's super rewarding turns, and this is just a classic.
Yeah. No, it's a good game. It's a good game, and I'm happy that I took your crown from you.
Oh.
So now I don't have to hear it.
I know. I was getting bored playing this game and winning all the time. So.
And I was all like, now I am going to take it from you. Now I'm going to bring it up every time to everybody. It's like the icebreaker. I'm like, so, yeah, I just want you to know, I know you knew Dave longer, but I beat him at Castles of Burgundy.
That's so true. Well, that was a journey. I mean, it feels like truly a chapter of our lives, this 10 by 10 challenge that we went on, and the chapter has come to an end. It feels a little sad. You know, I really enjoyed this list.
Well, you don't have to be sad, because we can still play these games.
That's true.
Minus a couple, but yeah.
That's true. But I'm looking forward to future 10 by 10 challenges, because we're just warming up.
We're just warming up.
I think that you've come to enjoy these deep strategic games. So I think our future 10x10 challenges will be full of really intense games that we just get into. Yes. We explore, and you probably win, but that's okay. I'm still going to have a good time.
What a sport. You're like, yeah, I'm a good sport when you don't win.
Yeah, when you don't, you only like a game when you can win it.
No, that's not true. It was a game that I was losing and still like.
Yeah.
Like Azul.
That's true.
I somehow lose at Azul a lot. Speaking of win percentage, so who won this 10x10? Because season 1, it was a tie, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, yes. This one, you won by a landslide. So you had
how many?
7 wins. Yes. I had 2, and then we had 1 tie. The last one, because we didn't care to play an extra 2 rounds to see if somebody could get the lead. It was viticulture, so.
Yes, I'm going to keep the win streak high. I can't let myself down.
Oh,
so
man.
Now I'm going to figure it out. I'm excited.
Well, thank you for taking that journey with me, Julie. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing me on the journey. Thank you for taking me down the path of games you loved. And we got to share that moment together.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much for joining us this week on this wild ride of our 10x10. We hope you had as much fun as we did and enjoyed our tales of adventure and playthroughs. Until next time, may your games and stories be epic. If you would like to join us on Instagram or Patreon, it is Dice Jesters. So that is goodbye for now. Bye-bye. We will meet again next Tuesday.